Good morning. Greatest career moments, all the successes, working with Fortune 500 companies, working with startups, working with brands like Target and Aflac and Capital One. And I realized that there was something very similar across all of their best case studies, which was they didn't try to sell. They didn't try to market. Instead, they did something entirely different. They fascinated. And so I took a step back and I started studying this. I wanted to understand exactly what is it about that decision-making moment when you present something to a potential customer that they could say no or they could say yes. What can you do to get them over to the yes? What can you do to make somebody immediately pay attention, to listen, to remember, and to act upon your purchase decision? And what I found are there are very specific triggers. I call them triggers. They're instruments. They influence behavior very specifically. And if you can figure out the part of the brain that goes from saying, I wonder, I'm sort of interested, maybe I'll buy it, maybe I'll think about it. If you can figure out how to hit that, you immediately shortcut to the part that says yes. Fascination is the shortcut to persuasion. It's the shortcut to increasing prices, to selling more, and to developing connection. And what I found in my research is that there are exactly seven of these triggers. Power, passion, mystique, prestige, alarm, rebellion, and trust. So I want you to think about your own business. I want you to think, what's that thing, that experience, that moment, that emotion, that feeling, that connection that you can create with your customers, that you can give to them so that when they leave, they want to go and they want to talk about it and they want to share about it and they want to praise it, and they are going to have an intense experience that is fascinating. I want to teach you how to do this so that you're not just selling the product, you're not just selling the service, you're selling something more that people will pay more for, that they will search you out for, and that they will talk about, and that they'll remember.
This is what I really want you to get out of this. Being fascinating is not frivolous. This is not about being Britney Spears. It's not about Christmas lights. Being fascinating is the power to persuade. It's about creating messages that people not only listen to, but they act upon. The BBC wrote that the addictive nature of web browsing can leave you with a shorter attention span. Our attention spans used to be 20 minutes long on the farm when we needed to do things like plow. And today, the attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter until now our attention spans, according to the BBC, are the same as a goldfish. Our attention spans are roughly 9 seconds, the same as a goldfish. So what this means is that when you're talking to a consumer, when you're talking to a sales prospect, every 9 seconds, that prospect is thinking about something else they need to focus their attention on, because we have so many things coming at us between LinkedIn invitations and Facebook status updates and new iPhone apps being released. And what's for lunch, by the way? All of these things create distraction. It's very hard to focus, and it's very hard to create a message that can cut through all of this. But cut through we must, because we're in a competitive environment, and in any competitive environment, the most fascinating option wins. It comes down to who can persuade in a 9-second world. It's not about having the best product anymore, I'm sorry to tell you. It's about who can fascinate.
I was born with the ultimate competitive disadvantage. I mean, can you imagine Seriously, can you imagine on the playground what it was like? I would come home from the playground and I would come in sobbing to my mom, Mrs. Hogshead. But I would say, I just want to marry a guy with the last name Smith or Jones. I wanted anything but Hogshead. My mom said something as I was sobbing in her lap that I'll never forget. She said, "It's the thing about your name that makes it different that will one day make you love it." Of course, I didn't believe her at the time. But you know what? After I got up off that therapist couch from all the teething, she was right. And so today my business card says, "A hogshead is a barrel that holds 62 gallons. So what's your last name, smartass?" And as I began my career in advertising, I discovered the exact same thing is true in advertising and in branding. If you want to cut through in a cluttered environment, if you want to get somebody's attention immediately, and you don't have a huge budget, then you need to be the most fascinating. For all of us in our marketing, we have a choice. We can either have the biggest budget of anybody else in the category that we're competing against. We can either have the biggest budget, or we can be the most fascinating. Biggest budget, most fascinating, nothing in the middle.
Well, the reality is that if you're not eliciting a negative response from someone, then you're probably not that fascinating to anyone. And this is the thing I really, really want you to get, is that over here, you know, we all want to be loved, and we want our companies to be loved, and we want to create strong and immediate emotional reactions so that people bond with us. But in order to do that, we have to first create the strong reaction. And if you create a strong reaction of love, then conversely, an equal and opposite reaction, some of the people are not going to like that message, and you're going to get some people who are going to represent the haters. You're going to have the lovers over here, but the more that you get those lovers, those people who are your advocates, your evangelists, your loyalists, the people who aren't going to leave you, the people who are going to stick with you through the recession, in order to get them, you also are going to get a few of them. But what I really want to caution you against is this place right here in the middle. The middle is not caring. The middle is death. The middle is where employees don't care and they leave for the first job offer that they're going to get where they can get a better price, or your customers are going to leave because they can get just a little bit more convenient somewhere else. The middle is the dead zone. And what I want to encourage you is that the world is not changed by people who sort of care. So get out of the middle and start fascinating.
Thank you.